The world. Hello and welcome. Marketing as a foreign language. Today on the show, Facebook under more pressure from civil rights groups with planned Instagram freeze. If this is anything like the other boycott, should be interesting. Ryan Reynolds. Any chance to talk about Ryan Reynolds on the show? On diet, storytelling, shoestring, marketing, and engagement over broadcasting. An entrepreneur.com article. How Instagram helps marketers and work from home professionals increase their influence. 15 things marketing teams might be doing wrong on social media. Facebook partners with Coursera to launch social media marketing professional certificate. And last but not least, hacked WordPress sites are being defended by their very own hackers. I can't believe it. Show starts now. Today on the show, we are now streaming live from my personal LinkedIn, as well as the Send It Rising Facebook and YouTube. If you feel like leaving a comment, oh me, oh my, that would make me a happy camper. 10:30 live a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Leave a comment. Let me know you're out there. Facebook under more pressure from civil rights groups with planned Instagram freeze. This is an article from foxbusiness.com. Stop hate for profit. Previously called on advertisers to boycott the social media giant in July. We covered that extensively. This article from Audrey Conklin. So, the Stop Hate for Profit campaign, a coalition of civil rights groups, including the NAACP and Anti-Defamation League, is hosting a, quote, week of action on Instagram to demand that Facebook address racism, hate, and disinformation on its platform, according to a press release. Quote, Facebook wants you to believe that the company's role in the death of the protesters in Kenosha was just an operational mistake, but it wasn't. It is just the latest casualty of Facebook's choices designed to maximize profits, the coalition said in a statement. The recent documentary on Netflix, I think, would agree with this particular statement. Not sure if you've had a chance to see that, but check that out. The Social Dilemma, I want to say, is the name of it. The statement references a self-declared militia group on Facebook, the Kenosha Guard, that called on vigilantes to patrol the streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin during the August 25th protest when 2 people were shot to death. If you have been under a rock, you would not know about this particular going on, but if you are not under a rock, you already know most of this information. So civil rights groups and their supporters will publish Instagram posts that call out Facebook for inciting violence, spreading racism and hate, and contributing to electoral disinformation. I always wonder about strategies like this because I can make an argument that one of the reasons why we are currently under the Republican administration with President Donald Trump as president, I would argue, is because a lot of the folks that were viscerally opposed to him were very, very vocal. And they always say, in my world, all press is good press. There is no such thing as bad press, which is to say, I wonder if this is the path. If they really want this change, is using Facebook marketing, because here we've got literally the Facebook logo and then Stop Hate for Profit sort of deal. Now, it is true that the recent boycott did reduce the amount of spend. I think a lot of the companies, and this is me being very cynical, but I think a lot of the companies made a cost-benefit analysis and they went, okay, we're going to stop our Facebook ads. We're going to save money doing that. And then we're going to basically use social media in every other possible way to let people know how great we are. And so I think it's kind of like a public relations advertising ploy. Now, that isn't to say that there aren't deep-rooted feelings and they don't believe in what they're doing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying from a strictly objective, will this affect the bottom line positively or negatively? I think you can make an argument that a lot of these movements have rooms of people that after many hours of conversation go, okay, I think we're going to profit off of this. I think it's going to look good for us to do this. Now, Facebook, on the other hand, just saw a minuscule drop in the amount of revenue that they were receiving. So they kind of just shrug it off and go, okay, well, the vast majority of small and mid-sized businesses that pay us are going to continue to pay us. So it just is what it is. So this particular strategy of calling out Facebook for inciting violence, as long as they continue to talk about Facebook, Facebook continues to receive what the Trump administration was receiving in the previous election cycle, which is just an unbelievable amount of free press. And so one of the hardest things you can do if you're really against something is to just not add fuel to the fire. And so I'm not saying that I know for a fact that acts like this don't sometimes make it worse, but I have a gut feeling that that it does happen, and evidenced by this last election. So Stop Pay for Profit previously called on advertisers to boycott the social media giant in July. Brands including Coca-Cola, Adidas, Disney, CVS, Ford, Verizon, Walgreens. You would assume with names like that it made a huge dent on the amount of money that Facebook was receiving, and it just didn't, as we covered in a previous episode. So we're going to see some more boycotts of Facebook. What does this mean for the giant? It means that they've reached that height. In previous articles, we talk about how Facebook gets rid of the vast majority of hate-filled content. It's not as if they're not doing anything, but we're talking about high standards, and they should have high standards. They should be held to the highest of standards when it comes to trying to police the internet, when it comes to trying to make the internet a better place. As I've said before, I was live streaming on Twitch when someone threatened to bomb my house. So there are crazy people out there, and I'm sure there's just an absolute dumpster fire, apocalyptic Armageddon amount of horrifying content on Facebook that they have to sift through every day. That isn't to say that I'm defending Facebook. I think that they should be held to the highest of standards, given the fact that they are incredibly wealthy, and this is on them to figure that out. Moving on to something that's just super heavy. Ryan Reynolds on diet storytelling, shoestring marketing, and engagement over broadcasting. Adweek interviews the actor, producer, entrepreneur. Oh, wow. He's a 2020 brand visionary. Oh, yes, Mr. Reynolds, the brand visionary here. Okay. Oh, wow. Great. Look at this awesome article. It is literally nothing. Oh, Adweek. Do you guys like this? Ryan Reynolds on diet storytelling. Here, let me summarize it for you. Create smaller content because people don't have attention spans. Stupid. Entrepreneur.com, how Instagram helps marketers and work from home professionals increase their influence. Lucas Miller writes, 62% of Americans were working from home as of late spring, according to a May 2020 Gallup survey, making e-commerce even more critical to any successful marketing campaign. Social channels are especially helpful in encouraging customer demand, which offsets risk amid a deep recession. Instagram, in particular, is one of the most profitable sites for promoting goods and services, especially if you operate in a niche. Think fashion and beauty, travel, health and fitness, food, consumer goods, home decor, and digital services. That makes up heavy use of multimedia content. In fact, e-commerce makes up 15.8% of total interactions on Instagram. So Instagram helping marketers and work from home professionals increase their influence. I mean, Instagram to me is this marvelous, amazing platform for a number of people. However, if you're selling insurance, am I bullish on Instagram for you? Probably not. If you're a personal injury attorney, yeah, I can see it. Politician, for sure. If you're a plumber, I mean, maybe. Look, at the end of the day, if you are a service-based industry, if you are in a service-based industry, like you're a CPA, you could spend forever on Instagram. And I don't know. I would way, way, way rather someone type in tax professional and click on a Google ad of mine and have them come to my page and have a video of me and meet them in that moment. Does that make sense? The problem I have with influencer marketing is it reminds me a lot of TV marketing back in the day, where basically I'm trying to get you to just think of someone or something in a new or more positive way. which is a very different vibe than, hey, I'm looking for a specific product or service. I'm searching for that in my computer. I am seeing the result for that search, and I am now using that result. Now, we used to be able to get together in rooms of people. So I think influencer market, if you can say Instagram as like kind of a replacement for the fact that you're actually interacting with real human beings, I would rather have a whole bunch of Zoom meetings with people. Personally, as a business owner, I'd rather establish relationships with a lot of people, because at the end of the day, is someone going to refer to your tax consulting business because they've seen your Instagram posts? I mean, you'll be top of mind, but I mean, you really want to establish a relationship with somebody. So I guess the real argument is, can you establish legitimate relationships with people on Instagram as a business owner? And I would argue that by and large, no. But would you be able to find certain examples? Sure. If you absolutely adore Instagram and you're like total fan and you happen to be a business owner, then sure, I think that there's an argument to be made. The same is true of people in sales. So everything I just said for business owners is true for people in sales as well. 15 things marketing teams might be doing wrong on social media. This is a Forbes.com article. Social media marketing offers a massive potential customer base to brands that use it right. As we've talked about in previous episodes, the first paragraph of these articles is always the dumbest, most obvious information. So I'm skipping it. If social engagement on a brand's page is lower than expected, it's a sign that they might be doing something wrong. You don't say. At that point, it becomes a challenge to locate which of the elements a good social media practice. Okay, fine. Here we go. Number 1 on the list, failing to connect and engage. The key to high engagement and consistent, current, and engaging content. Remember, audiences want authenticity, creativity, education, entertainment, humor, and lifestyle on a daily basis. Look, I would argue that most business owners just absolutely could not be more opposed to humor. Isn't that weird? It's just like they'll get off work and they'll make jokes. They'll make jokes all day, but oh, heaven forbid their brand have anything even close to resembling humor. We have a what do you call him? He's not a penguin. He's a puffin. So one of our employees bought a puffin, and we named him Pete. And this same employee travels around the world, and so she takes pictures with Pete the puffin, and that to me is adorable, and I love it. So that sort of thing, totally fine. Now, obviously, if you go way into right field or left field, you've got problems in regards to humor. So that's why I think most people avoid it. But you really should kind of relax, I would argue, unless you're under corporate and they have very specific rules. But if you have your own business, I think humor is wildly underrated. 2, not understanding your target audience. Who doesn't understand their target audience? Like if you're a tax professional, go back to that example, or a personal injury attorney, I feel like given the fact that you work with them all of the time, you really know your target audience. I think you might make the argument that the person doing the work with the client is not the social media team. And in that regards, then yes, that makes sense that there might be a disconnect there. So it is so important to understand the lifestyle and personality of the people that you are speaking with and offer up value to them. Create a variety of post types so the audience doesn't become fatigued with the same thing. Well, that's pretty self-evident. Being too self-focused, that's interesting. One of the biggest mistakes on social is the tendency to be too self-focused. Instead, aim for 10% of your posts to be about you and your company, including promotional offers. 30% should be original content you create that has educational or entertainment value. And 60% should be curated content from other sources. What? That is a really high percentage of curated content from other sources. Wow. I don't know if I agree with that. 30% should be original content you create, and 60%. Wow, that is quite interesting. Lastly, mix it up and make sure you have plenty of images, video, quotes, and links. Okay. Number 4, not matching content with channel. A social media mistake is not matching the right content with the right channel. While people may be on multiple social channels, what do? They use each for different reasons. Oh, well, that's true. Lanesia Kautzman writes in chat, you don't need an article if you have a pic of Ryan Reynolds. And that's true. We did have a picture of Ryan Reynolds. For those of you joining us for the live show, you got to see a lovely picture of Mr. Reynolds making this the greatest episode of Marketing as a Foreign Language that's ever happened. Streaming live on LinkedIn today. Leave a comment, you want to. Overthinking, lacking authenticity. Overthinking and a lack of authenticity are big mistakes on social media. Oftentimes, brands overthink social strategy, and the result is inadequate output through their social channels. Brands should focus on consistently adding engaging and authentic content. It's always the same crap over and over and over again. Disconnecting from the pulse of a market. Boring. Not speaking to the moment. Okay, there's a small argument for this. Sometimes when people try to hop on a moment, they come out really tone deaf. So you got to be really conscious of that. Falling into the post and pray cycle. Ooh, what's this? To get engagement, you need to be engaging. Oh, wow. That's just... Someone give this person an award. Did you know that to get engagement, you have to be engaging? Brilliant. It is easy to fall into the, quote, post and pray cycle. A common workflow is to create content calendar, craft the content, and schedule it out. The problem with this method is it doesn't take connection into consideration. The marketing team needs to put as much thought into the outreach strategy as they do into the content strategy. So outreach. Are we talking about posting on groups? Are we talking about reacting to people that comment on your post? I think it's really easy to react to people that are commenting. I think what's really hard is trying to get initial engagement in the first place. And then where can you post your content? Well, on a bunch of different social media platforms. At the end of the day, if nobody's coming to the party, you're talking about spending money. You got to spend some money. Over promoting your brand, really? We see several brands over promote on social media. The rule of thumb is to post one promotion, or call to action based piece for every 4 messages, says this person. You're going to get wildly different numbers from everybody. Not having defined goals. How about making money? Having poor timing. Not creating emotional content. Using hashtags ineffectively. I think this article is using my brain ineffectively. The Hindu Business Online. What? Welcome to the HinduBusinessOnline.com and the education portion. Facebook partners with Coursera to launch social media marketing professional certificate. Prashasti Awasthi from Mumbai writes, in the 5-course program, learners will explore social media marketing basics for various social platforms inside and outside of the Facebook ecosystem. Social media site Facebook has partnered with Coursera, an ed tech platform, to launch social media marketing professional certificate. As per a joint official release, according to the companies, the certificate is designed for learners with no prior experience to become ready for social media marketing jobs within a few months. That's kind of a big deal. That is kind of a big deal. So Facebook plus Coursera equals social media marketing professional certificate. One could make the argument that doing that might be a bit more cost effective than a $45,000 degree. Kellen, how dare you even suggest that not getting a degree is a good idea? I have every intention of having my kiddos get a college degree. I sure do. That being said, there are a lot of high school graduates that don't get a college degree. And for them, and for people who get a degree in, say English, I cannot tell you how many people I've hired with an English degree. There's a comedian that said, I ended up getting a degree in the language that I speak. I mean, there is a certain amount of ridiculousness to many 4-year degrees. I think most people would agree with that. I'm not talking about getting a computer science degree or an engineering degree. I'm talking about getting a degree in I did Spanish, so I had to get a master's degree to even get a job. Master's in education is what I ended up getting after the fact to become a teacher, which if you want to get saddled with student loan debt and then get paid not that much, may I recommend the Master's of Education particular path. Anyway, so Coursera plus Facebook equals social media marketing professional certificate. I think these sorts of trainings are not going anywhere. I think they're going to be a lot cheaper than college, and they're probably going to be a lot more applicable than an art history degree. The joint release stated that in the 5-course program, learners will explore social media marketing basics for various social platforms inside and outside of the Facebook ecosystem. And back to the education, if I get a resume and I see an art history degree over here with no social media marketing experience, and I see someone who's completed this course, I'm leaning towards the person that completed this course, right? It really does help when you're hiring, because you'd be shocked the kinds of resumes I've looked at where it's just you're nowhere in the ballpark. And then you get these resumes that are just boom, 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 boom. They go through these courses. They have the experience. How you going to get the experience? Well, you got to start with courses like this. Excuse me. The professional certificate is self-paced and designed to be completed within 20 weeks. Whoa. 5 hours per week. What is that? 100 hours? Upon completion, learners will receive an industry-recognized certificate that they can use to apply for entry-level social media marketing roles. I love it. Those completing the certificate course can share their resumes with a consortium of top employers committed to sourcing candidates from this talent pool. This includes Lang Hair, Snow Teeth Whitening, Ruggable, Freelancer, Facebook, and a growing number of other leading brands. Judy Toland, Vice President, Head of Scaled Solutions, Facebook, said in a statement, quote, "We're proud to be partnering with Coursera to address the challenge of reskilling." There you go. The global workforce while building a pathway for stable employment amidst digital disruption. It's funny to me, every time we talk about like automating semi-trucks, everyone just goes, "Oh, teach them how to code." Coding is so hard. Coding is so incredibly hard. Look, social media marketing isn't that much easier, but I would venture a guess that most truck drivers would probably be better at social media and social media marketing than coding. Could be wrong, but coding seems to be more challenging. Or at least there's a certain percentage of people that would definitely gravitate towards social media marketing over coding. The other thing too about social media marketing is there's a good sales component as well. Like if you understand social media marketing and you understand Facebook ads and websites and this and that, then you can go sell, so you can get a job in sales as well. All right. Last but not least, hacked WordPress sites are being defended by their attackers. This from techradar.com. Cybercriminals are going to war over vulnerable WordPress sites. A 0-day vulnerability was recently discovered, and we covered in a previous episode, in a popular WordPress plugin, and now cyber criminals exploiting the flaw have begun to protect the sites they've compromised from attacks launched by other threat actors. The security flaw was first discovered by the security firm Deviant, who recorded attacks on over 1.7 million WordPress sites that had vulnerable versions of the file manager plugin installed. I do want to quickly say that I'm not talking about WordPress hacks to try to dissuade people from using WordPress. I love WordPress. The reason I'm talking about it is because WordPress is the ubiquitous CMS system. We definitely prefer it to almost any other CMS system. It is great for marketing, so don't get it twisted. We are pro WordPress over here at Send It Rising. If exploited, the flaw allows attackers to upload malicious PHP files and execute arbitrary code on WordPress sites that have not updated to the latest version of File Manager. We put together a list of the best antivirus software here. All links to all articles are available in the description, wherever you happen to find us, which could be now on LinkedIn, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, on the Send It Rising page, and a number of podcast options. The plugins developers created and put out a patch for the vulnerability with the release of File Manager 6.9. Unfortunately, though, many site owners have yet to update to the latest. So multiple cyber criminals are currently targeting sites running vulnerable versions of the File Manager plugin. We get it. This is from Ram Gall, who is a QA engineer at WordFence. Quote, "We've seen evidence of multiple threat actors taking part in the attacks, including minor efforts by the threat actor previously responsible for attacking millions of sites. But 2 attackers have been the most successful in exploiting vulnerable sites. And at this time, both attackers are password protecting vulnerable copies of the connector.minimal.php file. If you don't know what that is, you're not alone. I have no idea what that is. One of the attackers, who goes by the handle Badge Attacks, is a Moroccan threat actor who is known for stealing users' credentials." And on and on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for swinging on by the show today. Very much appreciated. We're going to summarize here in just a second this 15th of September. Oops. There we go. So Facebook under more pressure. Yeah, okay. I am not saying that we shouldn't attack the behemoth. We should. They should be held accountable for their, let's say, imperfections. Okay, they're letting a lot slip through the crack That being said, they are filtering out a ridiculous amount of bad content. So could they be doing better? Of course they could. Are they receiving enough profit incentive to do a better job? Yep, for sure. Is the boycotting of their product enough? So far, the answer is no. If this is a start where the boycotts continue to grow larger and larger and larger, then sure, absolutely. But as they stand today, I am skeptical of basically saying stop using Facebook. You got to be conscious. If you really want to shut down an organization, it's so hard to not just give them more PR. So here I am saying the word Facebook a bajillion times. This is kind of the rub of trying to attack against something that you're not a big fan of. Now, to defend Facebook, I would say that they create a free service that has completely changed the world. There are a lot of people, let's use police violence as an example. If you're being harassed and you can open up your phone and hit Facebook Live, now there's a live feed of what's happening, right? And if there's nothing wrong with what's happening, then no problem. But if something goes sideways, and you've got a live feed, being sent out to the world, it can protect you. So that's a big deal. We actually connected with, I have a long lost sister, and we connected with her on Facebook, right? Could we have done that without Facebook? No. So I think a lot of people, or at least even on the show, all we do is criticize Facebook. I think it's worth noting that they have changed the world and that they are a pretty amazing organization who is flawed, and they are trying to solve a problem that I'm not sure anyone has, which is how do you shut down hate speech on a social media platform? If they wanted to, they could probably just start banning words. You know what I mean? They could go to levels that are beyond what they're currently doing. As someone who's watching this from the outside, it's so difficult to know what's getting through and what isn't. And so you kind of got to go off of anecdotal data about what they're allowing through and what they're not. So here we have a Kenosha Guard group, and that's basically the claim. Is my understanding is that this Facebook group was allowed to continue to post, and that it ends up inciting violence. I think at the end of the day, you've got people that are doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. And I do tend to fall on the side of, hey, man, like these people, they need to take some responsibility for it. That was my issue with the social dilemma so far, which is all of the blame is placed on the foot of Facebook, saying, hey, how dare you continue to try to engage these people and get them onto the website, when at the end of the day, we do have autonomy. We do need to make better decisions individually. That being said, I'm sure you can share incredibly toxic posts with me, and I would agree with you that they're horrifying. And you could probably find specific posts that do incite violence, spread racism and hate, and I am vehemently against those posts. As a private company, Facebook has to make the call on what they think is free speech, I guess, and what is good enough to not shut down, and when they need to shut things down. It's nuanced, it's difficult, and this won't be the last time we talk about it. Entrepreneur.com article, how Instagram helps marketers and work from home professionals increase their influence. Yeah, it increases your influence a little bit, but is it going to be profound? If you're like my sister and you have a cosmetic company, then, oh yeah, it's way profound. I just think that for the vast majority of service-based businesses, it's not profound. It's not enough. But that being said, in a pandemic, what else are you going to do? Really depends on your business. You probably have a pretty good gut feeling as to whether or not Instagram would be good enough to raise your own personal influence. Article of Forbes.com, 15 things marketing teams might be doing wrong. Yeah, these articles are kind of driving me crazy. It feels pretty self-explanatory to me what you should be doing in 2020 in regards to social media. The one key takeaway for me is that this one person recommended 60% of curated content. So if you're not curating content, you're only publishing your own content. That might be something to consider, going out there and sharing other people's content, the good stuff. And then last but not least, second to last but not least, Coursera and Facebook getting together to offer a social media marketing certificate. I think this is a big deal. I think all of these certificates by major institutions are a big deal. I think the university system is going to see a reduction. I know, how dare I even suggest such a thing, where students just look at the cost-benefit analysis when like some 17-year-old, right, goes through this marketing professional certificate, gets accepted in like an entry-level position in an ad agency and just starts working and is making like 30,000, 35,000 and right out the gate, and they're doing all right. You know, everyone else, or they do that while they're going through college, and then it turns out, you know, they get their degree in marketing or business or whatever, and they're already in kind of like a mid-level position by the time they're 26, 27, because they started so young, because they jumped on something like this. It's going to change education. I really do. I think major corporations are going to continue to create more training, and it's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than the current university system. And last but not least, the takeaway in the WordPress sites is, you know, you really do want someone who knows what they're doing, making sure that the vulnerabilities on your site are taken care of. Oh my gosh, it's already 11. Can you believe it? 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 30 glorious minutes together. Thank you to everyone who's hitting the like button, sharing, leaving comments, etc. If you're listening to us on a podcast and want to join us for the real thing, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time live, you can ask me any questions you want. Happy to answer those right here on the show. My name's Kellen Kautzman. I happen to own Send It Rising Internet Marketing. If you want to reach out to us, info@senditrising.com would be a pretty good way to do that. All right, we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.